At the very end of last year, BioShock Infinite's creative director Ken Levine said that Infinite's ending is unprecedented and something gamers have never seen before.
Given the game's impending release, we wanted to take a look back at a selection of particularly awesome game endings. If it wasn't already painfully obvious, expect many spoilers.
While there's some contention over which game endings are considered really great, there are certain closing scenes that are popularly thought to be a step above the rest.
If you never played Half-Life 2 Episode 2 and you want to know why fans are so desperate for the next installment, then check out the ending.
Every effort to neutralize the portal ultimately culminates into a victory, quickly followed by a painful, tragic, and perhaps most frustratingly ambiguous conclusion. Ocarina of Time drags Link through time, tunics, and temples only to deliver the perfect hero's ending, complete with world and princess saving, that feels totally deserved after scouring every corner of Hyrule for spiritual rocks and what would have to be thousands of keys.
The original Portal, despite being a very short game in a compilation box, had an excellent ending for what it was, but it was the second installment that really pulled out all the stops.
Portal 2 rounded off the game with a narrated boss battle that demanded mastery of the many skills learnt within the test chambers and shot the antagonist into space, literally. After which a chorus of turrets serenade you up the elevator and GLaDOS sings "I Want You Gone."
It wasn't quite a Mass Effect 3 level of displeasure, but conflicted feelings were brought up by the psychological mind games that Spec Ops played with every one of its players.
Arguably, it's the spectacular, surprising ending of Spec Ops that makes the fairly monotonous nature of its gameplay worthwhile. Along the same thread of games that flip the hero narrative on its head is Shadow of the Colossus, which reveals after a grueling adventure that the protagonist is in fact the villain. This heartbreaking conclusion leaves Wander possessed and eventually consumed by a whirlwind of light, though he does revive Mono.
In less contentious game finale sits Final Fantasy VII.
While a lot of Final Fantasy conclusions are considered best ending worthy, Final Fantasy VII consisted of a particularly epic ending complete with a meteor threatening the planet. After the very long journey, the livestream itself dissolved the meteor before the hero's eyes. The touching melodious conclusion to the Sandy journey, as well as the varying endings from heroic to twisted in Silent Hill 2, are also brilliant examples of game wrap-ups done right. If you weren't quite up to the hundreds of QuickTime events, you may not have been happy with the Heavy Rain ending you attained, but the twists and turns of the choose-your-own-adventure-esque narrative resulted in a satisfying set of finishing cutscenes that felt appropriate to your personal journey. The heroic and moving conclusions of Mass Effect 2 and Uncharted 2 brought their protagonists' journeys to a valiant close on entirely different levels, while Metal Gear Solid 3 finished as the boss is revealed not to have defected after all, but Snake is left with the decision to kill her for the good of the US political situation.
Other awesome game endings that have the ability to bring a grown adult to tears are Telltale's The Walking Dead and indie game To the Moon.
The Walking Dead rounds off the heart-wrenching zombie tale of 5 episodes to a scene where Lee, who is faced with his inevitable demise, must carefully choose his last words to his young companion Clementine.
While there are a ton of tear-jerking moments in games, somehow a retro puzzle adventure finds itself among the most effective.
To the Moon is a sentimental story about a dying man's wish to get to the moon. When the reason for this is unveiled in the game's final moments, we wouldn't blame you if you found it difficult to keep your composure.
Obviously, there have been stacks of great game endings over the last 30-odd years of gaming, but which are your favourites? Let us know in the comments down below, and feel free to let us know if you think there are any that are downright terrible. For all things BioShock Infinite and for loads more features, stay tuned to GameSpot.